Anyway. So anyway, welcome to the shop. Hey, what's up, internet? Bienvenido. Coming at you on YouTube from San Juan, Puerto Rico. It's December, and we are sweating it up in here because the fans are off when we do these talking sections. So today's the day we start a big job. We're going to build 4 sets of 2-inch thick, solid mahogany French doors, double doors, 2 of which have 8-foot doors, and then 2 of these 4 sets also have a 2-foot radius sunburst transom above them. So big doors, big, thick mahogany. So this is 2 3/4. This is really about 3 rough sawn, and this is going to go down to 2.5 for 2 of the big frames. And you're going to see us very quickly, and not too much boring footage, see us mill a lot of wood. So enjoy, check out the music. Señor Langosta, local band from Puerto Rico that I was in for a little while, is going to be the soundtrack for this video. So links below for their music. Great local band, and we'll talk more about them later. Okay, Corillo, let's do this. We're moving on. We've got our wood thickness and to final width for the rails, stiles, and pieces of the door frame. Now we're going to start cutting out the stiles. So we'll see we'll see some shots of Nabil cutting up the kind of losers of the longer bits of wood and getting the shorter pieces out of them and getting rid of knots and holes and a little tiny bit of dry rot. Dealing with locally cut wood, of course, so we have these kinds of obstacles to deal with. There's checking, there's things. And I will be starting to put the rabbets on the door frame components. And then if we're lucky, we can get all the way to cutting the joinery for that today. So let's get going in roll music and montage. I'm standing amongst truly beautiful wood, as you can see. I'm really excited for this local Puerto Rican mahogany. You can see how thick some of this stuff is. 1 or 2 sets of these 4 French doors have 2.5 by 2-inch thick frames. So we're looking at a big, heavy piece of furniture. Architectural furniture, does that work? I don't know. So we're good to go. We've got all of our rails. We've got this gorgeous pile of stiles all cut down to final width. And it is time to get things cut up to length before we start thinking about the dominoes. All right, let's go. Well, the first thing we're gonna do is take every single one of these pieces, both piles, bring them over here, really double check the saw, get it to that it is just dead on 90 degrees. And then we're gonna cut 1 square end on every single one of these pieces and mark which end that is. I'm going to always mark square here where I cut the square thing so that when I go back through my pile, I have a very clear idea where my reference points were. Got it?
Got it.
main section here that's marked with the X is the style itself, and the stock as we have it now includes these wing sections that are marked with the squiggly line. And that, of course, is the molding profile. It's an OG molding profile that you'll see us carve out of the stock. And this is so that I know where the joinery goes. All the door components are dimensioned, and it's time to think about joinery. I've been thinking about this joinery for a long time, and normally I would have cut probably my mortises with a router and my tenons on the table saw and then finish them by hand, as I always do. But this is a big project, and there are bigger and identical similar projects coming behind it. So I bit the bullet, jumped into the deep end, and got myself the big domino. So let's put this thing to work. I can go up to 70 millimeters deep. This is only 60. I can go deeper than this. I'm being very careful because as we cut this practice joint, I don't want to get my fingertips on the back end because I can go all the way through this. If you don't know about the Domino is a Festool German company, and they make machines that cut perfect mortises, and then you either buy or shop make floating tenons. So this is the one for big heavy work like this. This does cut joinery, which will last. Let's stop the presses for a moment. I want to make a quick 2-minute wall fixture that's going to help us prevent a problem that's been happening a lot, which is that our vertically stored wood over here in the staging area for active project pieces is falling over because they're not square cut on the bottom and they are just being annoying, and we can't have finished pieces falling over. This happens all the time. Wood shop, you work as a woodworker, you have tools, you can make infrastructure. So we're just gonna quickly buzz something together, get it on the wall, and solve a huge problem. We've got our joinery, we've got our mortises cut. We're gonna, for the sake of this practice run, we're gonna knock a homemade domino out of some scrap wood, but we are going to use store-bought dominoes for this because there's a lot of them and we don't want to deal with inconsistencies. So the next thing to do is to put, if you can imagine that this is a stile and this is a rail, the next thing to do is put our molding profile all around the stiles and the rails. So we're going to do that with this. And then we're going to put our channel in here. We're going to put our rabbet in where the glass will go in and then be held in on the other side. So that'll be like this, right? So we'll have our little molding detail here, and then we'll have a little rabbet here-ish, like that. So this will go away, and this will go away, and we'll be left with this, and we'll be left with that on the side of all the rails and stiles. And then we're going to take the other from this set, which we'll talk about later, and make an accommodation so that all this fits together. So stay tuned. But here's now the issue. How do I get these, there's the joinery. How do I get these two things to go together, right? So you might think to yourself, well, I could cut out this bit of molding right here and then I could butt this all the way up into there. But then what's gonna happen with my 45? What's gonna happen where these two things meet? They're not gonna meet up correctly. So the solution is, this is not a solution, of course, that I thought of. This is very standard woodworking. Is we're gonna actually take the end of this style where the tenons are, where the tenons go, and we're going to cut the reverse of this very molding into here, so this will fit perfectly, and sink right on there. If you can't picture it, then just check it out here. We'll get a close-up of this, and then check it out while we're making the cut. So let's see if this works. It does, nice. All right, so now we have our perfectly aligned joinery. We have our little crappy homemade domino that we banged out real quick. Cut this thing into a couple chunks and make a door. So these dominoes are also not gonna be full length. They really just wanna get these banged together. Okay, so finished product test piece. So you can see if I pull this apart a little bit, how nicely that comes together there. And this is how we achieve, right, the illusion of a mitered corner here. So on the back, now, we also have created this perfect channel on both sides. You can see there's a little loosey-goosey. This will be tightened up on the actual doors. And then, of course, we will actually miter in the identical molding that we make that then pinches in the glass. So here we go. Joinery thought about, planned, and executed. Now it's just time to do it 1,000 times. We cut all this joinery when we had all of this stock square, when it was all like this, right? We didn't have any of these details cut in here, and that made it so that we could reference the domino from the top, and then we could also reference that same side to do all this cutting. So this is referenced from the top, this is referenced from the top, this is referenced from the top, and that means that at the end of the day, one side of the door is gonna be perfect no matter what, and if there's any discrepancies in thickness, then we can go back and sand that out from only the back of the door. So then what we wound up with, of course, is a bunch of scrap that looks like this, right? So we wound up cutting this channel out, and so while it does mean that we're losing this much of depth of our mortise, that's why we have the Domino XL, because this thing is still deeper than my whole finger. So this thing is, even with the lost depth, is 1 7/8 inches deep. And over here we are 2 3/8 inches deep. So this is a ton of strength of joinery. I'm totally unworried about it. But anywho, we've got to cut our dominoes down to the correct size. We've got to find our corresponding styles for these rails. And it is time to get this first glue up going. No dry fit. We can't dry fit these because if we pat them into the holes, we won't get them out. So we're just going to trust our math and we're going to be good woodworkers, I guess. Let's get going. Oh, I keep pouring it out of the wrong inside of the pot. Making a huge mess, yeah. It's my style. It's not, if you don't make a huge mess, you're not woodworking. Don't quote me on that. All right. What, exactly 3 ounces? Who's the man? Blech. Blech and blech. Blech. Okay. Finally, we got all our doors glued up and now cut down to their final length or height, depending on how you look at it. You can see here I have one where I'm looking at the outside of the door with the integrated molding, and one where I'm looking at the inside of the door with a full channel for the glass to sink into there, and then we'll pinch that in there with an identical molding that we make, which will be free. Now, because these doors are French doors and they need to overlap, we're now going to cut a rabbet halfway down into the outside of the right-hand door and halfway down into the inside of the left-hand door so that these doors will close against each other. And so you're gonna see a little montage of Nabil doing a lot of routering, and I'm gonna go up into the front of the shop and get up to something. I'm gonna go find something to do. All right, back to work. Width of frame, 44 inches, 44 inches, 44 inches, 44 inches, 43 3/4. All right, so 52. Familia, that's it for part 1. Next comes part 2. So tune in for that. If you like the video, give us a like and please subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying our content. These guys are ready to go. For now, they're gonna get put aside while we work on the frames. And that is a very sexy woodworking, a lot of really juicy woodworking coming up as we work on the frames because of course some of them have bent laminations and other things going on. So these still need, of course, their hinges cut into them. They still need their glass and the rest of their assembly, and then they need to get finished. So we'll see these doors again, of course, but for right now, we're signing off with these guys. We're gonna move on to part 2. So please, drop a comment, let us know what you'd like to know about us. Let us know what you didn't like, but be nice, please. And please respond to the music. Click the links, buy the music if you like it, ask me questions about it. Every bit of music on this channel is local, independently produced Puerto Rican music, and in the vast majority of the cases, made by close personal friends of mine. So that's it, and see you next time.